Hi. Hey, my name is Chantaye McLaughlin, and today we're in the year 2021. We've survived a lot during 2020. However, I just wanted to share with you a few minutes of my past. So, I live with bipolar 2 with psychosis. So what that means is I go from managing multi-million-dollar accounts to literally being the person who is homeless, who sleeps on the streets. The person you see and you don't see because you don't want to see it. And a couple of years ago, here in East Point, a lot of you know a very popular sports bar. And I was a media buyer for it. It was all over the radio. And I had just stopped working for one of the hip-hop stations here in Atlanta. And I was Cub Scout secretary. I was in a seemingly healthy, happy relationship. And my doctor said, I was actually advocating with an organization called Mothers Advocating for Mental Illness. And I actually was in the process of going to Ferguson to protest. And my doctor said, you know what? You're too high functioning and you no longer need your medication. At the time, I was classified as schizophrenic. When I stopped taking my medication, I present as schizophrenic. And so she took me off my medicine, and very quickly I decomposed. What that looks like is fast forward to 6 months to a year, and I was pregnant, going to jail, sleeping on the streets, institutionalized. My son, my oldest son, had to go live with my mother. And here I am with a college degree, homeless, sleeping on the streets. Now, a lot will be said. Like, people may say she did drugs. I never did drugs. Well, let me take that back. Smoked marijuana maybe 2 or 3 times in college as a freshman. Hated it. Just totally didn't like it. It made me sick. I didn't like the taste in my mouth. I didn't like anything about it. Other than that, I've never been exposed to any other drug. I attended Narcotics Anonymous for 5 years because I didn't have insurance. And in not having insurance, I knew that with my mental health, I was getting better by just sitting in a group format and attending meetings. So fast forward again, I got incarcerated in 2016 for criminal trespassing, disorderly conduct, and obstruction of justice. Well, actually, criminal trespassing and disorderly conduct. I was never Mirandized. I was housed at Clayton County. When it was time to go to court, I asked the officer if he read me my Miranda rights, and he said no, he didn't even know what the Miranda rights were to read them to me. And they sent me back to my cell. I was pregnant. I was 2 centimeters dilated in August. They sent me back to my cell with no medication because I was off my mental health meds. Like I said, it had been over a year. And they threw in a disorderly conduct charge after they sent me back to my cell. Fulton County picked me up, took me to the Fulton County Women's Detention Center. While at the Fulton County Women's Detention Center for 9 months, they did all types of things, one of which was shackling me when it was time for me to give birth, not giving me hot meals. In 9 months, I didn't see the outside world one time, except for when being transported to and from court, where they wouldn't take me to court. They'd put me into another holding cell and leave me there. And sometimes they leave me in my cell for 4 and 5 weeks with no interaction with others. One time I was so dehydrated, I had to use my MaxiPad box or something to be able to attain water. And while incarcerated, I delivered triplets: Gregory Sterling McLaughlin, Malcolm Aaron McLaughlin, and Melina Olivia McLaughlin. I named them. I held them for 2 days. And then they transported me back to the cell. They refused to give Gregory to my mother because she was about to have open heart surgery, and they wouldn't release him to her best friend because she wasn't family. However, they sent him to a former DFACS caseworker, and they tried to encourage her to adopt him. And Fast forward a little more. After that 9 months, they sent me to Georgia Regional for another 9 months to stabilize me. While at Georgia Regional, I found out that I was facing 20 years in prison for charges that weren't mine. And I didn't have a public defender or a lawyer. The first public defender they gave me told me that he wasn't my public defender. I never had a phone call. The second public defender said that he wasn't my public defender, and he gave me a third number. The third person called the quote-unquote victim and said, there's no victim in this case. Your charges have been dead docketed. Georgia Regional refused to transport me to court because I wouldn't take a plea deal. They said, you were homeless, so you must have committed these charges. And I said, they're not my charges. I didn't commit the crime. And so they said they wouldn't transport me because I didn't understand the severity of the situation. So at the end of my charges being dead docketed in Fulton County, they said, and by the way, you never delivered triplets. You only gave birth to one child. Since you were delusional, you hallucinated having 3 babies. So I've been on a campaign to find my other 2 children, which looks like me running for East Point Ward B at-large City Council. I've had conversations with commissioners. I've had conversations with United Nations, with Polaris, the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the GBI, and nothing's happened. So the jail that I was housed in is the Fulton County Women's Detention Center. There's a class action lawsuit for over 200 cases of cruel and inhumane treatment to minority women of color. I've talked to the Georgia Advocacy Office, the Southern Center for Human Rights, you name it, I've talked to them, and nothing's happened to date. So I'm standing up for something. I'm committed to getting my children back because I am a mother before I'm anything else. And after that, I'm a businesswoman, and I'm a public policy advocate, and I am running for City Council, Ward B at large. I am Chantaye McLaughlin. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope that you can help me find my children, or that you come out and vote. Share this story with 5 other people. Request that they share it with 5 other people. You can find out more information at change.org/Chantaye, CHANTAYE 1979. Thank you.